Motherhood Incorporated proudly presents Military Mom Talk Radio live on TogiNet.com. Co-hosted by Robin Boyd and Sandra Beck, the owner of Motherhood Incorporated. Military Mom Talk Radio is here with a powerful platform for women to discuss their ideas, issues, and concerns with respect to the military lifestyle. Military Mom Talk Radio encourages you to share your experiences of being a military wife and mother. This show is dedicated to educating your family about the many resources that are available in both the public and private sector, and we'll be sharing helpful information from women all over the world. We'll cover everything military, from helping a family member cope with post-traumatic stress disorder, to navigating government programs dealing with family issues, to the struggles of deployment, along with being a working mother both in and out of the home. This is Military Mom Talk Radio, and here are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we've got a chilly show today, huh, Rob?
Sure is chilly out this neck of the woods.
Oh, it's beautiful here in Southern California, but we're going to be talking to Lauren Zimmerman today about relocating to Alaska. She's got some interesting statistics, and many military families, as part of their career, get located to Alaska at one point or another. It's a really popular destination.
I have heard
but they
of
wish
so
it was
many
Hawaii instead.
Yeah. I've heard of so many people who have gone there and have loved it. I've only known one family to live there. So visiting is one thing and living is another. And I think even whether it's Hawaii or New England or California or Alaska, there's nuances to each territory. And it's wonderful when you have somebody like Lauren Zimmerman who helps you not only find the property, but also helps you integrate into that community in that area.
Well, yeah, I think it's hard, whenever you PCS move, it's one thing to move across the state. Mm-hmm. It's another thing to leave like the lower 48 and go to Hickam out in Hawaii, or, from the Philippines, go to Okinawa. Mm-hmm. Because you don't know what you don't know. And I think I want to tell a little story. When I first moved here to California, Rob, I was, used to skiing up in like Buffalo, Toronto, up, cross country skiing down the river in Montreal, things like that. I was never accustomed to, 110 degree heat. And I thought, oh, well, I had all my ski gear. I'm going to go snow skiing out here in Southern California, up in the mountains. So I drive up in the mountains. I've got my down jacket. I got my down pants. And, I almost had heat stroke.
I bet.
Because the sun was so strong. I had no idea. And I had put on I had my layers, I had my turtleneck, then I had my sweater, then I had my jacket. And, people were skiing in jeans and a T-shirt, because this reflective sun is so hot. And you truly can ski some days in jeans and a T-shirt. And I was dressed for Nanook of the North. And I almost had a heart attack and died just from the heat.
And it is so different, isn't it? I mean, we're our ski areas are just loving what we're having out here right now, but it's really putting a damper on like infrastructure and schools and businesses. We've got some challenges out here right now. So the weather really does impact everything. So when you do move to a new area, you do have to have that preparation.
Well, my favorite is when one of my girlfriends, she used to tease me a lot in college because she was from Hawaii and she had never seen snow. She had never seen ice. And it was just, circumstances would have it. Her husband's company relocated her to my hometown of Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And she has 3 kids, and she was used to popping her kids out the door in sandals and shorts and T-shirts to go to school. Bye, have a good day. And she called me one day in tears, and she's like, I can't do this. There's boots, and there's hats, and they're always losing their hats, and they're losing their gloves, and we only, they're cold, and then the coat is wet, and then I have to dry the snow stuff, and, it was so funny. And I mean, she used to tease me something awful, and I didn't tease her back because I really felt bad for her, but it's really tough to get your kids out to go to school with backpacks, books, lunches, gloves, scarves. And you don't realize how easy it is when you live in southern climates to just go, oh, come on, get your socks on. That's
We
the
have
extent of
to.
us in the morning. Put the socks.
When we teach, of course, I used to be a teacher, and it was in the wintertime. You really do have to plan an extra, say, 20 minutes ahead of our lunchtime and recess, and 20 minutes afterwards, just to get them all bundled up, and then on the other side of it, another 20 minutes to get everybody's wet stuff off and peel them out of their clothes. And oh, did they bring extra socks because they got snow all down their boots? And so you always have a bin filled with socks and a bin filled with extra mittens or an extra T-shirt because somebody got soaked. Yeah, I mean, that's just a typical day in a northern climate. So, and we're honest to God, we're having a buffalo kind. I got to tell you, this winter for us is a buffalo kind of winter because it's just like 4 feet of snow out there right now. It's just intense. I cannot see my son's spare car out on our front yard. That's how buried it is. That's how much snow I have.
It's amazing. Well, and it's any extreme. Like, whether it's tons of, when I worked up in Seattle, for a cup of coffee, I was up there for a couple of weeks, and I of course, I'm from Southern California now. That's where my clothes have been for the last, 10, 15 years. So I didn't have any really appropriate rain gear, and like my shoes got ruined, my boots got ruined. I was miserable. Not that I don't like the rain. I love the rain, but it was just that adjustment. And when I went to Scottsdale, when I worked for 3 weeks in Scottsdale as part of my job, in August, and it was 120 out, and people were out walking their dogs. I was like, oh my God, how are their feet not frying? And, you just, you have to learn to adjust. And that's one of the things that I'm so excited for Lauren to be here, because not only is she living, the Alaska dream, but she did a lot of research and prep for this to help families so that anybody that is PCS moving or relocating to Alaska can get some idea of what to expect. Because I think one of the things too, Rob, is it's that fear, the fear of what, oh my God, how am I going to do this? It can feel really overwhelming when you've got kids and you need to get them into school, and you're from Florida and you're going to Alaska.
The difference too with Alaska is the length of days and how many days you have, and the darker days and the lighter days. We in the southern states or the lower 48 are just kind of used to, we have to change the clocks twice a year as far as the daylight savings time, but we're not quite used to that kind of change that they have up there.
Well, yeah, and I was thinking, like, when I stayed up there, I've been up there a few times, and, everything's fitted with these shades and stuff, and it's like, if it's dark out at night, like, when you go to school, like, you think how strange it would feel to go to school in the morning. And, like, I know in Buffalo it was often dark and snowy when we went to school in the morning, and sometimes if we didn't get out of swim practice till 4:30 or 5, it was dark and snowy when we left, so we didn't see any sun for the whole day.
Right.
And
what part of Alaska did you visit? Where did you visit when you went up there?
I was in Juneau. I was mostly in Anchorage, and then I did some silly thing one time when I had those coupons, for Delta. Delta Airlines would have a friend fly free. And I got on the internet. This was maybe 8 years ago. And I looked up and I'm like, wow, there's $99 one-way trips from Los Angeles to, I think it was Fairbanks. Fairbanks or Anchorage, I'm not sure. So I called her up and I said, hey, Mary Lee, she's from Texas. I'm like, you want to go to Alaska this weekend? And she's like, yeah, because, we could do the friends fly free and, do the cheap flight. So, we go to Ross and buy some cute boots and, buy a California jacket. And we went up there in November, froze our what's off. We had so much fun because we just ran around. We got some guy to pay us to take us out on his fishing boat, because everything was closed. And so our whale watching was like some guy on a fishing boat, looking at these two, dingalings that flew up, for the weekend. But I really, and I rented a car, a big SUV, and we drove up to watch the Northern Lights. And I remember sitting up there, Rob, and we were watching the Northern Lights, and they were so cool. And I was like, Mary Lee, what if an alien came? What if a bear came out of the woods? Oh, she was so mad. She was so mad at me. Oh, Casey, yes. Casey said Captain Ron. Yes, it was just like Captain Ron. I have pictures. I'll post them. I'll post them on the blog. You can see me freezing to death in Alaska, but we looked good.
That's all really that counts, right? You gotta look good.
Well, we didn't have to pay for airfare, and the hotels were. That's right. The dirt cheap. So we thought, well, if we're going up there for like $200 with hotel and meals included, why not go and shop for some new clothes? Because
absolutely. That's too funny. The only thing I can recall from the friends that we had up there was the crops. They would send us pictures of their garden crops because they would have had so much sunlight during the day, and their potatoes were huge, and their carrots were huge, and I was just so fascinated by the fact that they would have such amazing crops all year long. So that's got to be pretty amazing. I guess it's there again. It's just a different environment, and it's a different place to live, and every place has its charms, and every place has some challenges. So having that person to give you a hand to get settled in really is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I like that Lauren can talk from, like a mom to mom perspective, especially with little kids, because I think she's got 4 of them and they're all lips. Yeah, I'll have to check with her on that. I have to go look for her Christmas card because I have the Christmas card somewhere, and I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, how fun. Yeah, that's really fun. And I'm sure that they must have huge Christmas tree farms up there, I would think. So we don't have as many around here anymore. Unfortunately, development is taking away a lot of our Christmas trees. So we just have a finite supply of them up here in New England. But anyway.
And anybody who is relocating to Alaska, if you're PCS Moving and you're listening to this broadcast, it's Zimmerman, Zimmerman team, TEAMAK, like Alaska. So ZimmermanTeamAK.com, and you can look at some homes.
Beautiful homes too. So we'll have to talk about her settling in to a new environment, and also all of the opportunities that she has had to help families move in to this beautiful state. We're going to be talking with Lauren Zimmerman on the other side of the break. Do stay tuned. This is Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. Be right back.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
I am not the woman I used to be. I'm free with Minister Diane Jones. Monday nights at 10, 9 Central on TogiNet. This is your chance, ladies, to hear stories of hope and healing from someone who's been there. Someone who has fought back from the horrors of incest. Minister Diane's innocence was stolen from her in the land of alcoholism and mental illness, which led to her being emotionally, physically, and sexually abused by her parents. Yet in spite of this trauma, she has gone on to become a successful wife, mother, registered nurse, and minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I'm not the woman I used to be. I'm Free is a straight-up show to enlighten you and to lighten your load. Do not let the weight of this world or the things that have happened to you control your life. For more on the show and Diane and her book, The Story of Me, email her directly from her show page here on TogiNet. Then, join us for I'm Not the Woman I Used to Be. I'm Free with Minister Diane Jones. Monday nights at 10, 9 Central on TogiNet.com.
This is the TogiNet Radio Network. Radio with a cutting edge.
In today's business world, a helping hand or idea that doesn't come with an invoice is a treasured find. And if that happens to you, then you need to pay it forward to keep other entrepreneurs from making mistakes or getting a raw deal. It's called Paying It Forward with Josephine Girassi, Wednesday mornings at 10, 9 a.m. Central. Josephine is going to have the guests describe their accomplishments, the lessons they've learned, both good and bad, and then sharing those pieces of knowledge as we create a movement of paying it forward. For more information about Josephine, her business, and background, you can go to mymomknowsbest.com. Josephine Gerasi has always been a problem solver. She saw this need and has turned it into a movement. It's Paying It Forward, with tips, tools, and advice and hard lessons learned. These pieces of knowledge can make a huge difference for you, your business, and others. So join us for Paying It Forward with Josephine Gerasi, Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
Everybody, we'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and a statue of liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Red, white, and blue.
There we are. I am on. This is Robin Boyd back with you, with Sandra Beck here on Military Mom Talk Radio. We are here to welcome Lauren Zimmerman today. She is part of the Zimmerman team and is now in Alaska. Her, as Sandra said earlier in the show, ZimmermanTeamAK.com is their website. Thanks for coming to see us today, or hear us anyway, Lauren. Welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Well, Lauren, tell us, we have to sort of start the scenario. I don't believe that you were born and raised in Alaska. So how did Alaska come into your life?
It came into my life when my husband came in my life. I was born and raised in Charleston, South Carolina. And so, I was used to the, 80-degree winters. And So, my husband was born and raised up here. His dad's been up here for about 50 years. And, so then when we got married, I moved up here. And so I've experienced kind of the drastic move from South Carolina up here to Alaska. And it's been a really neat experience.
So, Lauren, this is Sandra. How many kids do you have? I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember if you have 3 or 4 and how old they are.
Yes. I have 4 boys, and they are 6, 5, 3, and 1. He'll be 2 in 2 months here. So, yes.
So you know a little bit about raising kids in Alaska.
Yeah. Done it for a little while. Yeah.
Something's chimed in.
Yeah, I know. It's so fun. So when you first moved to Alaska, what was some of the things that you noticed that were so different from either the lower 48 or from South Carolina?
It would take less time to share what's not different. It's so different in pretty much every way. From Charleston, South Carolina up here, obviously the weather's different, the lake's different, the scenery is different, the people are different, the community is different, I think the kind of the priorities and the obviously the way people spend their time. Alaska's much more, well, I can't really say it's outdoorsy because in Charleston, of course, you have the beach and all that, so people are outdoorsy in their own way. It's very, very different up here, and it's been really neat kind of incorporating into the culture and community up here, and just getting to know people and learning to love Alaska, which wasn't that hard.
It's so beautiful, I'm sure, but did you find it difficult to get used to? How much of a light-dark transition do you have as far as over the course of a year?
Let's see. During the summer, our longest day is, our longest day sunsets about 11:45 at night. So actually here in Anchorage area, we just missed the midnight sun aspect, but we're close. And sunrise is about 4 a.m. So it doesn't get dark. I mean, you could be out reading a book at 1 o'clock in the morning outside without a light, because the light doesn't completely disappear after the sun goes down, because it just dips below the horizon. And then we gain or lose throughout the year up to 5 minutes a day. It's just constantly changing. And our shortest day, obviously middle of December, is, let's see, our sunrise is about 10:45 here in Anchorage, and sunset about 3:30. So, and it gets dark very quickly, and the sun, like at our house, it doesn't come up above the trees. It's always back in the woods, and we don't get the sun in our window for about just a couple months. But it's always changing, and we're always gaining or losing, and I don't know, the variety is really neat.
That's good that the variety is neat. I can only imagine, though, that it must be difficult to just, how your spirits get down in the winter, just in a normal winter down in the lower 48, how it must be difficult to sort of stay chipper in those darker days.
Yeah, it can. Some people have, they call them happy lights. They mimic sunlight, and some people find that they do help with the darkness. But I've never used one, but I know that some people really like them and find a little bit of, I guess, happiness from them. But yeah, now if you're up in Fairbanks, though, their shortest day is 2 hours shorter than ours. Their shortest day is only about 3.5 hours long. And then if you're up in Barrow, Alaska, which is just, pretty much the northernmost point, which there's no, you can't even drive up there. It's more people working on the oil fields up there, but they get 67 days of darkness. So we're glad that we don't have that here.
My gosh.
Well, and then what do you do? Like, do you just go outside and play in the dark? Like when it's when it's during the dark season, like my mom used to send us out in blizzards. I kid you not. We were in Buffalo and we'd be stuck in the house, and she's like, well, just put your hat and gloves on. You'll be fine. Because we were stuck in the house, it would be cold and windy and 10, 12 days at a clip. And so we would learn to go out and play in the snow, and it could be cold and rainy, and we didn't see the sun a lot just because of the cloud cover. Do you just go out, send the kids out, you guys go out and play in the snow?
I do kick the boys out to play in the snow regularly, and usually I try not to do it if it's below, just because they are still all little. They're all 6 and under, and usually I don't throw them out if it's under like 10 or 15 degrees. So, and really here in Anchorage, we get some really, really, really cold. Today it's 3 degrees. Yesterday we had it was just so windy outside. So you add the wind chill on top of 0 degrees. And, so, it definitely can be colder than that. But a lot of our winter days are like, 10, 15, 20, 25 degrees. This winter, it's been actually warm. We've had a crazy winter this winter. I'm looking at grass outside, and the wind blew all the snow away, and it's been a very interesting winter. But so I send the kids outside. A trampoline actually is really helpful because you can clear the snow off of it, and it gives them a snow-free area to play, which is really neat. Just gives, it's just easier for them to run around and play. And I know on base up here, they have a lot of indoor play options for kids with, whole play sets and playgrounds inside, which gives them an area to just go run around, let off energy. And that's really helpful. There's a couple indoor play areas up here that, anybody can take kids to. And that's definitely very helpful during the winter.
I can imagine, because we used to go to the mall. My mom, the other place my mom would take us to the mall play area, or our local high school was really great. They would open the gym, they would open the pool, for families to use in the winter, just because, there was just, you can't play in snow when it's 5 feet of snow outside.
Right. Yep.
Takes the fun out of it, right, Rob? Rob's got about 4 feet right now in her front yard.
I know, and I'm only 4 foot 8 inches tall, so needless to say,
Rob is Robin Boyd is like the shortest person I've ever met. She's adorable. I got to stand next to her, Lauren. I didn't meet her. We've been on the radio for like 5 years together, but we've never met. And we've worked together, Rob, maybe 10 years, 12 years?
Close to that, yeah.
Yeah, but we never met, Lauren. And then we met in person this summer when I flew back east. And I was like, oh my God, I'm Blondzilla. And I'm like, oh, you're so cute. And it was just fun to, but yeah, you'd totally get buried in the snow.
You know how you have to plow a little area for your dachshund to go out and go piddle?
Yeah.
Well, they have to plow a little path for me because I can't get through it, yeah.
Little dogs get high-centered up here all the time.
They get what?
We don't have a little
what
dog.
do little dogs get?
They
Hold
get
on, tell me.
They got high-centered.
hold on.
Their legs can't reach anything to make them move.
Yeah.
Because of the snow. So, yeah.
Oh, gosh. Well, on the other side of we're got a break coming up pretty soon, Lauren. One of the things that we do want to talk about is some of the things that you do to help military families when they are coming to an area such as yours. Because here we are talking about a lot of differences, even say from New England to California to Alaska. And there are a lot of environmental differences, and then there are a lot of as we're saying, whether it be schools or whether it be what do kids do or what do they need as far as just clothing, proper clothing and whatnot. And not all of the time does that information get relayed to the family before they end up moving, especially if it's a sudden move. Right. So one of the things that we'd like to talk about, and like I said, we've only got about 2 minutes before we go to break, is that the whole move, getting them up there, but getting them settled, because that's got to be a big process.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest things is connecting with people before you move up and getting advice on what's needed. I definitely having the right gear for the weather is very helpful. And there's a lot of military buy-sell trade groups and consignment stores on base. And a lot of families, when they leave Alaska, they end up leaving their sleds and winter gear and, all of their stuff there. And so then the new families moving up can come in and, find what they need easily there. And, just having a community to move into is so helpful wherever you're moving. And
definitely. Yeah.
Right. And there's, Facebook pages and different things like that to connect with people. And
that's, yeah. Well, we're going to talk a lot more about that on the other side of the break. We're visiting today with Lauren Zimmerman from the Zimmerman team from Alaska. And if you've never been to Alaska, I encourage you to go to ZimmermanTeamAK.com for your first peek at how beautiful living in Alaska can be. Back in a moment.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
In today's business world, a helping hand or idea that doesn't come with an invoice is a treasured find. And if that happens to you, then you need to pay it forward to keep other entrepreneurs from making mistakes or getting a raw deal. It's called Paying It Forward with Josephine Gerasi, Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Central. Josephine is going to have the guests describe their accomplishments, the lessons they've learned, both good and bad, and then sharing those pieces of knowledge as we create a movement of paying it forward. For more information about Josephine, her business, and background, you can go to mymomknowsbest.com. Josephine Gerasi has always been a problem solver. She saw this need and has turned it into a movement. It's Paying It Forward with tips, tools, and advice and hard lessons learned. These pieces of knowledge can make a huge difference for you, your business, and others. So join us for Paying It Forward with Josephine Gerasi, Wednesday mornings at 10 a.m., 9 a.m. Central on TogiNet.com.
This is the TogiNet Radio Network, radio with a cutting edge.
Do you want to get a contact high? Tune in for fun, inspiration, and motivation every Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time. Learn how to maximize your mojo and just say no to the status quo. Get inspired and motivated by a fun-loving coach who knows what it's like to get through this thing called life. With your High on Life coach, Audra Irwin, each Friday at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time and 12 noon Eastern.
There ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sail at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, ladies, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we're visiting with Lauren Zimmerman, and she is the wife of Tait Zimmerman, who's a great friend of mine, and Lauren's my friend, too. I like to think so. Maybe not after the show, but for now. If you guys are relocating up to Alaska, you want to check out their website. That's Zimmerman, Zimmerman, team, TEAMAK, like Alaska, because you can search homes in Anchorage, Eagle River, Matsu Valley, Kenai Peninsula. See, Peninsula, I can read the website. That's what I just did. So I think you guys need to go up there because I don't have a clue of what I would do if I moved up there. What I do want to talk about just a little bit, Rob, I want to talk about food because, the kitchen is the heart of the home. And, I always hear these horror stories about, like produce in Alaska. And I'm going to tease Lauren because Lauren cooks moose. And I bet you of all the people listening today, there's not a whole lot that know how to cook moose. So, Lauren, I'd like your best moose cooking tip. And then let's talk a little bit about, the food and any challenges that you find up there with respect to feeding a family of 6.
Sure, yeah.
All right, what's your best moose tip?
Eat it like beef. It pretty much just substitutes. I mean, it's really similar to beef. It can be a little bit tougher just because obviously it's totally grass-fed, totally organic, totally free range, whatever you want to call it. And so
think about it that way.
Yeah, right. It's really good meat. It's leaner than beef. And it can have a little bit of a gamey flavor. Kind of, some people don't understand what that is. It's just hard to describe. It tastes like a barnyard slightly, just a little bit. But it's really good, and you really can substitute it for almost anything. A lot of times when people grind their moose meat, to make ground beef or ground moose, they'll add quite a bit of pig suet or, beef fat, or just to give it a little bit more moisture. And it's really good in the crock pot. I don't know. I mean, we eat moose steaks. You can pretty much just substitute it for whatever. Moose spaghetti, moose tacos, all kinds of things.
Is it very comparable to venison?
That.
Have you had venison from deer?
I have, yeah.
Yeah, so it must be
similar. I think it's a little better. I think it's more similar to beef than venison.
Oh, nice. Because I know when my mom would cook venison, she would always layer bacon strips over it just to be able to keep, like you're saying, putting the suet in. She would layer the bacon over the roast to be able to cook it. So
right. Yeah, that definitely work with moose, and bacon's good on anything. So.
Sure. Except for your cholesterol.
Better with bacon.
Okay,
then now what about fish? Because what about fish? I'm curious because I eat a lot of tilapia because or tilapia. I call it tilapia because I'm a New Yorker living in Southern California. But there's tilapia is really cheap down here, and we have a abundance of it. And what about fish up there? Can you tell me a little about that?
Yeah, salmon is the biggest one. There's a lot of commercial salmon fishermen up here, but you can also, Alaska residents can go dip netting for salmon down on Kenai River, Kasilof River, and other places. During the summer, there's about a month when it's usually pretty good fishing. And we've got 50 salmon in the freezer right now from last summer, and we just eat it all year. We smoke some of it, can some of it, Actually, some friends of ours who live on the military base, they were able to rent a boat from on base there, and we all went with them and dip netted from the boat, which is really the ideal way to do it.
Now, what is dip netting for the rest of us that only know a hook and reel?
It is, so it's a really big round net on the end of a super long pole, like a 10-foot pole, and then like a maybe 4-foot diameter net, and you just hold it in the water, and as the salmon swim upstream, they get caught in the net and you pull them in.
Wow. That's pretty easy.
That's what I do with my kids at the pool. Like when I was pregnant with my older one, or my younger one, and my older one was swimming, I used to take this buoy and throw it out to them and pull them in. It's kind of like the same principle.
Yeah. It's definitely, I mean, it's hard. It's very hard work just wrestling the net, and especially when you're on a little boat with about 3 or 4 nets in the water, and you got these people pulling 10-foot poles into the boat, and it's hard not to knock at other people in the water, but so it's a lot of fun. And also there's you can do fishing charters where you can go for salmon, shark, and halibut and rockfish and lingcod. Those are some neat ones. You can do like a multi-species charter where you go and you get really a lot of those fish, and it pretty much pays for itself. It's not a lot cheaper than buying it at the store, but it usually pays for the charter, definitely.
Do you find that a lot of people put their own gardens in as opposed to just buying produce at the store? I know around here a lot of people grow their own vegetables.
Yes, there are a lot of people who have gardens up here. The growing season is very short, but there are certain things that grow well. Really, I think the hardest part of having a garden up here is keeping the moose from eating your produce.
Oh, funny.
It's a huge, people have a big problem with that. So definitely you want a good fence around it, or a good dog or something. Yes.
I'm thinking of a dog trying to fend off a moose. If that moose wants to eat that potato, he's going to eat that potato.
Yeah, dogs do. We have a big, like 175-pound Spanish Mastiff, and we haven't seen a moose on our property since we got him. So, they do deter moose, definitely. But there's a lot of gardens. The growing season's short. A lot of people start, especially start certain crops inside or in a greenhouse before they can actually plant them in the ground. And of course, we've got the huge cabbages and pumpkins and cucumbers and all just huge because of all the daylight that we get, 20 hours of daylight, and things grow very, very big here.
I know that down here we have an awful lot of people, and certainly in California, there are an awful lot of people say that are either vegan or vegetarians. So the plentifulness of crops must be very important. I would think it'd be difficult for people with dietary either restrictions or preferences to move into a new area just to be able to find the foods that they may need. I mean, they may need medically if they have allergies or whatnot. Right. Let alone just, preferences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are quite a few resources up here. There's a health food store in Anchorage, and also one out here in the valley where we are about 40 miles away. And so there are resources like that. Our main grocery store up here is Fred Meyer, and they have a great natural food section, and so there's good opportunities there. The produce in the grocery stores really varies throughout the year. Sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. It's definitely more expensive. But then, the fact that you can, go out and hunt a moose does kind of make up for that too. So there's different farms that sell, raw cow's milk, raw goat's milk. You have to buy a cow share or a goat share for that legally up here. But there are definitely options up here for people with special restrictions or preferences.
What about shipping? Like, when you ship to Amazon, like, a lot of our rural bases subscribe to Amazon Prime because, they've got so many things with free shipping. Does Do you guys take advantage of Amazon Prime up there? I don't know. I've never had a friend, like my friends when they were in Okinawa, used an FPO address, and they could use Amazon Prime to ship to they could get it shipped overseas, so it went to Japan without, too much trouble. So I can't imagine it would be any different for Alaska.
Right. Yeah. Shipping is definitely interesting up here. And probably similar to like what you're talking about. But yes, I do lots and lots of Amazon orders. Mostly if I can find it on Amazon, I get it on Amazon. When you get into like certain things won't ship up here, but especially when you get into like furniture and things like that, it gets, a lot of places just don't ship up here, which is a little bit frustrating. But you can always, there are always alternatives, and sometimes you just have to look harder. But lots and lots of Amazon shipping, yes, which is free, just like it is to lower 48. So.
Yeah, because I use it too, Lauren. It's so funny. I'm I'm rural. I'm on a horse ranch, so, north of Los Angeles. And, it's a 20-minute ride to the grocery store or to 25 minutes to the Walmart. So I'm thinking, I look and go, okay, it might be $1 more on Amazon, but it'll cost me, $8 in gas to get over there and back just to pick up whatever. So, I use Amazon shipping probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Definitely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, we use it, and it's definitely very helpful for up here to help with the shipping costs with other companies. Yes. Yeah.
What about for things to do for the kids? Like, when somebody relocates up there and you have a large family, I get like that, you could go snowmobiling, you need a snowmobile. You could go fishing, but you need a boat. What are some free things to do? We're about to go to commercial break. Rob's going to wrap us up here in a minute. So we can hit that after the break. What do you think, Rob? Are we out of time?
We're probably going to be out of time. But it's true, when you do go to a new area, it's very difficult, first of all, just to get the kids into the new school. But then get them into their new social environment is so difficult. And I'm sure that there are clubs and whatnot. We'll ask Lauren on the other side of the break as far as whether there's youth groups or whether there's sports and some of the big sports in that area. I would think with the varied weather that's up there, it would be difficult to have the same kind of seasons that we do down here. But we definitely want to make sure that we have a family ready to settle right in. We're talking today with Lauren Zimmerman. She's from Zimmerman Team AK, as in Alaska. And we're so excited to learn a little bit more about Alaska, because for most of us, Alaska is that place that we know is up there. But unless you've really visited, you really don't know what living in Alaska is like. So we're very fortunate that all of our families that are moving up there have the benefit of the Zimmerman team to get them settled and ready for life in Alaska. We have a little bit more with Lauren on the other side of the break here on Military Mom Talk Radio, so don't go away.
Are you a military mom looking for help in dealing with the system? Keeping the home fires burning? Well, that's what we're here for. It's Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd. And we'll be right back after these.
Congratulations on being the proud owner of an adorable, soft, cuddly, sweet-smelling, smiling, cooing, hungry, tired, gassy, screaming little bundle of joy. So now what? Where's the owner's manual for this thing? Where are my instructions? Right here. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com. Infant care specialist Blythe Lipman has worked with babies for over 20 years and works extensively with new parents, providing workshops, in-home visits, tips, and daily phone calls to ease those frazzled nerves. With Baby and Toddler Instructions, you can get the advice you need on how to survive and enjoy your baby's first year. For more information on Blythe and how she can help you, go to babyinstructions.com. From 32 ways to stop a baby from crying to 14 ways to get a baby to eat and so much more. It's Baby and Toddler Instructions with Blythe Lipman on TogiNet.com.
It's words you never heard.
Did you know celebrating New Year's Eve started in Babylon 4,000 years ago. The most common New Year's resolution in those days was to return borrowed farm equipment. Most Americans do make at least one resolution, usually related to health and fitness. But making a New Year's resolution stick is difficult if you're a mumpsimus. That's a person who obstinately clings to a bad habit. For many of us, New Year's resolutions seem to go in one year and out the other. Most New Year's resolutions fail by January 20th due to kainotophobia. That's the dislike of change. Call me a crusty gripes, but my New Year's resolution is to stop hanging out with people who ask me about my New Year's resolutions.
It's words you never heard.
I'm Carolyn Davidson, and Words You Never Heard has been brought to you by the Bariatric Surgery Center of Dallas.
We'll put a boot in your ass. It's the American way. Hey, Uncle Sam, put your name at the top of his list, and the Statue of Liberty started shaking.
Welcome back to Military Mom Talk Radio on TogiNet.com. Covering topics to help on the home front with help from those who know how the system works and how to work the system. It's more fun than a sale at the BX. Now let's get back to it. It's Military Mom Talk Radio. Here again are your hosts, Sandra Beck and Robin Boyd.
Hey, military moms, this is Sandra Beck, and I'm here with Robin Boyd, and we are visiting with Lauren Zimmerman today. She's given us the 411, everything we need to know about relocating to Alaska, since so many families in the military community at some point have had a tour of duty up here. And one of the things that we're really concerned about with our military families is we know that money's tight and time is tight. So that's why we want to provide some of this insider information, because you can get all the facts and figures online. You can go and look at the weather and look at the temperature and look at all this stuff. But I'm really interested in talking with Lauren today, and she's the wife of Tait Zimmerman, who owns Zimmerman Team Alaska, Zimmerman Team AK.com, which is a real estate company. And they specialize not only in, finding houses, buying and selling of homes, but they're really good at helping the military family adjust. Like that to me is as important as finding, the right place to live. When you move, you want to make sure you're in a military family friendly environment, so that you're put in the right community, you're near base or wherever you need to be. If your kids have special needs or special interests, that's why somebody like the Zimmerman team can really help you make that best decision for you, far beyond how many bedrooms and bathrooms you need. And Lauren, when people move up there, it's always such a big expense. I know the military covers moving costs, and but there's always expenses beyond that, and there's stress, and there's all these things. So, what are some opportunities for people that don't cost anything that can allow them to, when they get there, to go and blow off some steam and get the kids outside, things to do that don't break the bank?
Right. Of course, a lot of that depends on winter versus summer, as far as what's available and what the best options are. But there's, in Anchorage there's, for during the summer, there's so many, really up here during the summer, just getting outside and really, especially during the summer, you really want to be spending a lot of time outside because you don't get that sun and that vitamin D during the winter. And, we try to get out at least once a week to go hiking during the summer. There's a great recreational area, Hatcher's Pass. It's a little bit of a drive from Anchorage. Maybe it's a little bit, just over an hour, but not too bad. And there's tons of hiking and trails, and there's an old mine you can tour up there, and just all kinds of, it's a beautiful area. A lot of people go up there. So that's one option. Out the other direction in Anchorage, there's a ski resort. During the summer, they've got trails up there for hiking and all kinds of things like that. There's a park in Anchorage that again has trails and along the inlet here, and then down you can drive down to Seward. It's about a 3-hour drive. This one, there's a Sea Life Center down there, and I know that during the winter they have a free day where they have free admission. I think it's every Wednesday through a decent amount of the winter for families, and so that can be a good inexpensive option. There's really a lot. Anchorage has a lot of the same opportunities for activities that I think a lot of other cities have, and because it's kind of the hub of Alaska. It's where everything, if it's in Alaska, it's going to be in Anchorage. So a lot of the opportunities in the state are in Anchorage there, which is really neat to live close to that.
Something interesting you said, Lauren, in the chat when I had kind of asked you about job opportunities for military spouses, that you were saying that oil industry is big, but there is a 2-week on and 2-week off sort of work schedule. That's very different.
Yeah, there can be, because the oil industry is huge up here, and a lot of families work in it. But it's up here. It's called up on the slope, which is where people work up way north of here, and so they commute. They basically fly, and so it'll be like 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off, or it's just crazy schedule. So that one would probably, most military families are not going to opt for a spouse to do that. Especially if they have kids. It's not very sustainable for the long term, really, for a lot of families. A lot of families do it. The husband will commute back and forth, or the wife, or whatever. But so some families definitely do make it work. But I haven't heard of a lot of military families making that. That would not be their first choice usually.
Certainly. Yeah. Very challenging. Even in a non-military family, that kind of is very tough. But I know that a lot of spouses do look for employment. So especially, you were saying that there's no real limitations as far as internet. So I'm sure that a lot of virtual work is available. But are there other industries that might be looking for work that military spouses could be engaged in?
I don't really know of anything specifically. Anchorage and the areas around Anchorage, it's a very fast-growing area. So there are a lot of opportunities and a lot of growth. So I mean, there's a lot of options, probably similar to other places. But I don't know specifically of anywhere that is, specifically geared towards military spouses.
I just think of, not realtors, but real, what's the term that when you have to do staging, that's the kind of thing. If somebody comes in and either does some staging or does some office type work, or I'm sure that there must be a lot of openings for civil engineers up there if there's an awful lot of growth. So and
people do work remotely, just because of technology, the internet, so much can be done from a long way away. And so for some jobs, it doesn't matter where you live if it's all online. And so that's definitely an option up here as well.
So, Lauren, what's your best advice for somebody, think back, think about your kids and all this stuff. Like, what's kind of your best advice for, somebody like you with, small children that's due to relocate to Alaska? Like, what would be your best advice for that woman or that man listening today?
Like I said, just connecting with people up here before you come up. There's Facebook groups, there's, military groups that you can get connected with, and that can help you have a community to move into, get involved in the church when you get up, or there's a lot of groups on base, and just really getting connected with other people, and especially because during the winter, because it can be harder to get outside. A lot of times, you go spend time at someone else's house, and to let the kids play and drink tea or coffee or whatever, while it snows outside, and there's a lot of just, I think, getting connected, being prepared when it comes to winter gear and things like that. Because if your kids aren't comfortable outside, if they're not warm, they're really not going to want to go outside. And just kind of almost going overkill on extra layers, and making sure that your kids are comfortable playing outside, and that they have sleds and snow shovels. I mean, kids love to shovel snow, to a certain point. But,
so they get older and then they don't want to shovel.
Exactly. But just being prepared in those ways. And I think it really does boil down to having the right perspective on it, and I think that someone who has the right outlook can be happy anywhere they are, and having a good attitude about things. And I mean, your kids obviously latch onto that, and they're going to pick up on their mom's perspective of where they are. If their mom's happy with it, they're going to be happy with it. If their mom's dissatisfied, they're not going to be happy. So, I think a lot of it comes down to that. And I love Alaska. I would really have a hard time moving away. And I'd love to be here for the rest of my life.
What about sports and
what is it
that kind of thing? As far as, are there a lot of teams for kids to join as far as sports go? Soccer or?
Yeah, a lot of it obviously is indoors up here. During the summer or, early spring, fall, they do have outdoor things, but a lot of it is indoors with the schools and things like that. Hockey is a big one up here. So yes, there are definitely opportunities there. Yes.
I would think hockey would be, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not a lot of golf going on up there, though, huh?
There are some golf courses, but that's definitely very seasonal.
Yeah.
Yep.
I know, as we were watching the snow come down, we were watching golf the other day just to make us feel like at least there is some hope.
Right. Well, during the winter up here, getting out, a lot of families make it a priority to just take a trip as a family, if they can do it, if at all possible, and get out of state, go somewhere warm just for like a week during the winter. Hawaii is a definite, because it's not that long of a flight to Hawaii. I mean, takes just as much time as it takes to get anywhere else from up here. And so a lot of families will go there for a week. Our military family friends up here, they were able to fly military over there and with their 5 kids, and it gives a little bit of relief from the cold. It's nice to get some sun, soak up some vitamin D, and then it's refreshing to get back after that. So
that's wonderful. I am sure that this adventure is amazing for anybody, and as most military families know, wherever their next move is going to be their adventure, because you have to look at it that way. That we're given this opportunity, so you take advantage of it and see the world. We've spoken today with Lauren Zimmerman. I do hope that you'll find us on MilitaryMomTalkRadio.com, find us on iTunes, or right here on the TogiNet station if you've missed this or any one of our many, many shows, over 200 hours worth of programming. Lauren, thank you so much. I want to make sure that people find you at Zimmerman Team AK, ZIMMERMAN Team, TEAMAK.com. Just a wonderful conversation, Lauren, and thank you so much. Stay warm up there.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for letting me share about Alaska.
Yeah.
When all of us go up to Alaska, we'll be sure to look you up.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
We'll see you all next week on Military Mom Talk Radio. Do tune in next week. We have another great guest to share with you, and we're so looking forward to having you with us. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.